Hello and welcome to God Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Honest to God was published 60 years ago in 1963. It created a furore. John Robinson, the author, was a bishop in the Church of England. Our image of God must go was one of the headlines. Robinson argued that our view of the world has so changed that it's no longer possible to talk about a God up there in the way that biblical writers do. And taking ideas from the German-American theologian Paul Tillich, he suggested we adopt images of depth rather than height. God is the exact opposite of a supernatural being who can be relied upon to intervene from without. God is the infinite and inexhaustible depth and ground of all being. Today, 60 years later, I think many bishops have reached the same conclusion, and I think it's time they were open and honest. For example, in the 1662 Book of Common Prayer, which is still authorised for use in the Church of England today, there's a section entitled Prayers and Thanksgivings, which includes a prayer for rain, one for use in the time of any common plague or sickness, and another for use in the time of war and tumults. They include these petitions: "Send us, we beseech thee, in this our necessity, such moderate rain and showers." And this: "Save and deliver us, we humbly beseech thee, from the hands of our enemies. Abate their pride, assuage their malice, and confound their devices." And this: "So it may now please thee to withdraw from us this plague and grievous sickness." It's splendid 17th century language, but during all the recent droughts, conflicts, and the COVID pandemic, I didn't hear an archbishop or bishop using these prayers. The Church of England did issue some resources for use during the coronavirus outbreak. This was typical. God of compassion, be close to those who are ill, afraid, or in isolation. But there was no petition for God to withdraw from us the virus. The prayers offered for Ukraine don't ask God to confound their enemies or abate their pride. We pray for all those who fear for tomorrow, that your spirit of comfort would draw near to them. We pray for those with power over war or peace, for wisdom, discernment, and compassion to guide their decisions. No talk there of God having power over war and peace. The Archbishop of Canterbury called for a ceasefire in the Middle East, but he didn't ask God to bring about a ceasefire. Of course not. God doesn't intervene in that way. We need our bishops to be honest about God and lead people to a reassessment of our use of that word. God, the ground of our being, may not be the phrase we'd turn to. We might say God is life, as we say God is love. Next year we celebrate another attempt to be honest to God, the 40th anniversary of Don Cupid's Sea of Faith, a series of 6 BBC television programmes and the publication of the accompanying book. It led to the creation of the Sea of Faith network, which explores and promotes religious faith as a human creation. John Robinson ends his book by saying it's only the beginning. But the beginning is to try to be honest and to go from there. It may take 100 years, he added, and it seems he was right. Many church leaders have yet to take that first step. Thank you for listening, and let us know what you think. Do leave a comment and do subscribe.